Hello, everybody. It's that time again. It's time for our Saturday briefing for our pastors. This will go out to them first, but then it'll be on my blog, and that's where hopefully all of our ministers and members are welcome to view this as well, and our friends and family around the country. All of those that love us and rooting for us and praying for us, and those of you that may not be, just listen and maybe you'll have a change of heart. We need the prayers and you need the practice, so it's a win-win. But anyway, this is the briefing for August the 29th. This month is almost over, and we're really teeing it up for next month. And so here's my little lesson. I've got some important announcements to make at the end of this little video, but here's my lesson for today that have for our pastors. First, let me give you the premise. The premise of what I'm going to share over the next couple weeks through the month of September. If you will notice, I don't talk a lot about how to grow your church. I've had a measure of success, and God's been good to me in that area. But I have learned over the years, I heard one guy say that church growth is 85% luck and 15% character. That's probably a good way to put it. I do know that church growth techniques are going to be different everywhere. There are certain principles that work everywhere in every situation, but honestly, there's not as many of those as you would suppose. Leadership is really about taking the cards that are dealt you each day and making the best of it and leveraging what God's given you, being a good steward of it, knowing what the mission is and stay focused on that. And so that's going to look a little different in every place and in every situation and at every time. And so, I mean, I've gone through several decades of ministry, and what worked when I got started does not necessarily work now. And so I don't really try to tell you or teach you how to grow your church. That's a little, would be a little arrogant of me, because your giftedness is different and your situation's different, and what I've done, that's done, and it's a new day. And so, but one thing I have learned is the best way to grow your church or to grow your marriage, or this works in the professional world too, is to grow yourself. I have focused on that. I still focus on that when I get off task and in carving out time every day, or at least extended time every week for personal growth. I'm toast. I'm sunk. I get stagnant. And I have had any measure of success I've had is because I just literally grew myself. And boy, let me tell you, I had a lot of growing to do. Man, when I started out, I was so green. I was pea sick green. I didn't have a clue. I thought I did. And I didn't have good disciplines. I didn't have good habits. And I had to really learn how to manage myself. And the bad thing about it was I didn't have a boss. Of course, technically I had a boss. And I'm not talking about Sandra. She does pretty good. And I'm not really talking about Jesus. Jesus is a real hands-off kind of manager. He gives us a lot of leeway and a lot of freedom. But in our organization, technically my boss was my district overseer, my state overseer. And in all honesty, I don't say this whining. That's not it at all. But I could probably count on maybe one hand or two hands at the most the numbers of time that I had a district overseer or a state overseer call me and say, David, are you doing your job? What's your mission? What's your goal? What are you trying to achieve? Have you prayed? How's your prayer life? What's your work ethics? What's your next, over the next month, the next year? What are your goals? Where do you see? Very little supervision, if any. And it's just the nature of it. And I say that to remind us all that if we don't take responsibility for our life, if we don't have a plan for our life, someone else does, and we'll probably not like it, and we'll just drift through life. And so I had to learn how to develop bosses in my life. And what I'm talking about is I began to develop diagnostic questions that I take seriously. Every day there's a big, not a big, but a pivotal early morning before I do anything else, a pivotal early morning segment of time that I review my diagnostic questions. I have some that I answer. I have personal diagnostic questions that I've accumulated over the years. I have professional questions. I have questions on my marriage. And so some of those, like the ones on my marriage and family, I answer those about once a quarter. My professional and personal, I've got some that I answer maybe only once a year. I have so many. But I have narrowed it down with professional, personal, and marriage. I have narrowed down 29 diagnostic questions that I answer every month. They're not the 10 Commandments. They're not divinely inspired. I edit them from time to time, but I seldom have made any changes once I've kind of got these locked in. And these serve as bosses for me. I answer the question in the morning, and then I go back and look over the last 12 months, and I can begin to see, have I kept my word? Am I being true to what I said I would do? And they hold me accountable. If I see a pattern, I get stuck or I'm drifting, it gets me back. Like my question today was about my devotion to Christ. And man, it's through all this COVID ordeal that we've gone through, man, I can really see where I was each month as I prayerfully and honestly answer those questions. And so they're bosses. They keep you on track. And so I've given you 7, and I'll give you 7 next week, and we'll go through the whole month of September. And I've given you the thesis, I'll just give you one. Like for the first day of the month, the reflection question of the day for the first day of the month, and I've been doing this for years now, who am I here for? And I have a little quote. I love this quote. My purpose can be found just across the border of what's in it for me. And here's the thesis. Marriage, family, and ministry must never become about me. My decisions and priorities must always be motivated by doing what is best for those I serve and for advancing Christ's purpose in their lives. And I had to put that in there on a personal level. My relationship with Sanja, I'd get upset at her and I would realize that she's not meeting my expectations. It became about me. And then I would have to find myself professionally. I would find myself making decisions. I was more interested in growing the number because I wanted my fellow ministers to say, man, that poor David's just rocking and rolling over there. What is he doing? And it wasn't about the people. It wasn't about God. And I'd have to rope myself in. My boss, that question would come along, David, who are you here for? Are you here for you? Is this marriage about you? Are your children, are your grandchildren? Man, it hit me when I started having grandchildren. Are your grandchildren there to make you feel good? Or are you there to help the parents pass on the faith and help them to grow up to be kingsmen, women, to serve the Lord, to fulfill God's purpose in their life? So that's just one, and I've got 6 others like that. That if honestly, I promise you, if you'll take 5, 10, 15 minutes a day and thoughtfully answer these questions, they will be bosses. They will be mile markers. They will be indicators to help keep you on task. They'll make a world of difference. And so I'm not making any promises, but what I'm going to try to do, I've got a lot of traveling. I'm doing this on Friday, and I'm starting tonight. I have a Connect meeting for the district in this area, and then I'll be driving to Grand Forks tomorrow for a Connect meeting there, and then I'm just going to be going up the northern part of the state and then down into Montana, and next Saturday, I'll be in Eureka. So you guys pray for me that Sanja and I will have Traveling Mercy, be meeting with a lot of people, a lot of meetings, and trying to catch a few sights of this beautiful part of the world that we're all privileged to live in. And so with that said, I'm going to make the effort to each day do a little short video. It'll be on my blog If you're not subscribed to it, it's Pastor Kemp, one word, lowercase, pastorkemp.com. And that goes all the way back to when I was Pastor Kemp back at Fort Mill. My youth pastor, Glenn Waters, drugged me into the 21st century and said, Pastor, you need to do a blog. And so he set it up. But anyway, I'll try to do a little video about each one of these questions and just walk you through, because I believe in it so much. We have so little accountability. We have so many people, so few people that look over our shoulders and say, look, you know you're slipping here. You know you're not following through like you said you would. And so that these bosses are good for us, and they'll help you to grow. And when you grow, those that are around you grow. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. Let me walk you through a few things today. Down at the bottom, I'll send those questions to you and the little, I don't know if newsletter is the right word for it, but for lack of a better word, the little newsletter that I send you, it'll be included. And also there's some important announcements and things. Let me just briefly run I got a couple resources I'm going to be sending you as well. One I want to highlight for you, and I'll send next week, Lord willing, you'll be getting a little packet from me, pastors. But Brother Ed Parrott over in Livingston, this has been going on for quite some time. Earlier in the year, I was out there and I saw it myself. Their roof is in bad need of being replaced, and it will be dicey at the best if we try to limp through another year, another winter of not having that roof repaired. And this is through no slackness of Brother Parent. It's been on there many years, and they're doing a good job. They're doing everything they know to do, but this is a stretch beyond their means. And the quote, to replace that roof with good quality tiles, and just the way the geography, kind of like up in Grand Forks, that river valley that flows down the boundary of Minnesota and North Dakota, it creates cold climate that Grand Forks will be on any given day the coldest place in the lower 48, and sometimes in all the United States. It's just the way the geography. Well, in Livingston, it's just the way the geography is, but they have high winds consistently, and so roofs are an issue for everybody that lives out there. So we've got to get that replaced. And so I'm going to ask us to receive a special offering, and dedicated laity and friends and ministers of this region. If you're watching this blog or you know someone, and I'll talk about this a little bit each week, but begin to prayerfully consider making a contribution. I'm going to at least ask every church, every lead pastor, to receive a special offering or make a special donation. Maybe you already have something set aside for missions and home missions or whatever, but a generous offering to raise $23,000 so that we can get that roof put on, hopefully in October. And so, and I've, with a recent beloved former overseer, Brother Alan O. Hathaway, when he passed away, they didn't ask for flowers. They said, make a memorial offering in honor of him. And so I talked to Sister Polly Hathaway and got her blessings, and I'll be posting a video of my little interview with her in a few weeks as well. But we're going to entitle this or call this the Alan O. Hathaway Memorial Offering, just as a way for us to express our love for and honor for this great man of God, one of our former bishops and overseers. And so I'll be telling you more about that. You'll be getting some information from me in the mail as well. Also, with today's email, I am sending you an annual calendar. This is my personal calendar. It's just on a Word document, nothing fancy. But it is, I did get to the point where I lived a year at a time. A good leader, followers experience the present, managers manage the present, and leaders create the future. That's kind of a breakdown. And so in any given situation, we play all three roles. Sometimes we're a leader and we have to create a future. And the future for your people is no better than the future you're creating, the planning you're making. As a manager, Sunday, you have to be a manager. And the service that the people experience is no better than your managerial expertise during that week of managing the present. And then they show up and they experience what the manager and the leader have produced. And sometimes we're the people that experience it. And managers and leaders, our experience is no better than the quality of their managerial and leadership skills. So having said that, I try to live a year at a time. And so this is the annual for Brother Chris and myself and my wife, women's ministry. There'll be some, she makes a contribution as well to this calendar. But this is the regional calendar. And it just gives you, as a pastor, sometimes I would get a little frustrated. And I know that general headquarters and our regional or state headquarters, they can't consider me in every decision they make. But sometimes it would seem like they would make their decisions in a vacuum. And here I am making long-range plans, trying to fulfill the Great Commission, trying to finish the Great Commission, trying to run to win. And so I'm trying to be a leader and a good manager. And then I'd get announcements from headquarters that just completely messed up my plans. And so I've often thought if I could just get an annual calendar, a detailed annual calendar of the big events, then I can, many times, I don't mind working my local schedule around the bigger picture. I want to be a team player, but don't spring things on me on the last minute. And so anyway, this may help you, and just keep in mind that it's subject to change. Like, 2020, all the sermons in January were a 2020 vision for 2020. Well, good luck with that. We had very blurry vision. We didn't see it coming. And so life, we have to zig and zag, and life changes. But anyway, this is an annual calendar that I'm sending you, and it'll be an attachment. Just highlight a couple things in September, the monthly Zoom meeting. You'll see that date for the monthly prayer call. September the 10th, 7:30 Central Time. There'll be a lead pastor Zoom call on September the 22nd. Be sure to get that on there. And then our regional council and youth board will be meeting on September the 24th. And a big part of that will have to do with the ministers' meeting, setting the agenda and things like that. And so be in prayer for that. And then I've got 2 birthdays and then a ministerial anniversary. 2 birthdays. September the 1st. John Goyer, Brother John, is one of the ministers there at the Kalispell Church, a precious brother, and you may not know him if you're maybe more east here, but Brother John is a faithful minister there. And so his birthday, September the 1st. And then, speaking of Kalispell, our bishop of the great city of Kalispell, the church there, Brother Mike Hance, that's his birthday on March, good gracious, on September the 3rd. So remember both of those brothers, and feel free to call them, wish them a happy birthday. And then also on September the 3rd, it's the 28th anniversary of John Dwayne Engel becoming an ordained bishop. According to the records I have, Brother Engel is about 72 years old. I don't know Brother Engel, so if anybody has any information, I've tried to reach out to all my ministers and be a pastor, shepherd to them. I'd love to have some contact information. I believe the last records I have is he lives in Helena, Montana. I'll be going through Helena in a few days. I hope to check on one of our widows there and meet with one of our ministers, and maybe I could work in a side trip also to see Brother Engel. So if anybody knows any information about him out in the region or in the nation, give me a call. But anyway, that pretty much sums it up. I pray that you have a great day tomorrow, this Saturday briefing on Sunday, and just remember, no matter what you're facing, you're running to win, and God is on your side. And as you grow yourself, you will be a winner. I remember a member of mine at a very crucial time. He had gotten hit with an emotional nuclear bomb out of nowhere. And he looked at me, had terror in his eyes, and he was saying, "Pastor, I don't know what I'm going to do. And something rose up in me, and I looked him in the eye. I had that kind of relationship with him, and I said, I tell you what you're going to do. You're going to keep going. You're going to get up and go another day. That's what you're going to do. And brothers and sisters, that's what we're going to do. If we're looking for an excuse, we can find one. If we want to name something, if we want to name now, this is tough, we could be justified if we want to. We could reasonably and justifiably call these tough times. Good, bad, or ugly, no matter how you're feeling, no matter what you're going through. I tell you what we're going to do. We're running to win, so we're going to get up and keep going. And God's with you. You can, we can do this. So God bless you. Let me have a word of prayer over you. Lord Jesus, I thank you for the pastors of the North Central region. I thank you for the ministers and the amazing laity in churches. I thank you for our friends around the country and even around the world. And Lord, in your holy, righteous name, I bless these, your dear people, starting with our faithful shepherds. Undergird them, just as Moses needed Aaron and Hur to help hold up his hands so the armies of Israel could prevail. Lord, I come along beside them, and I pray that you will send people, their members, their friends, to help hold their hands up. They're on the cutting edge. They're the boots on the ground, fighting for the souls and the cities of this great region. And so, Lord, bless them. Bless our region. Bless our friends and our families. Bless us and keep us. Make your face shine upon us and be gracious to us. And lift up your countenance upon us and give us peace. I ask it in Jesus' name. Amen. God bless you. I love you all. Literally, I'll see some of you around the bend if God gives me traveling mercy in the next few days. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.